But I actually know people who got COVID. Yeah, my family and overseas, my auntie and my cousin, and my uncle got COVID.
There you go. You're someone that I know. But in saying that,
is it the flu or is it COVID?
No, they got the COVID. They got COVID.
Like, so what do you know much about the PCR test?
Yeah.
And how they're testing for COVID?
Yeah, I know a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know about it.
Well, the guy who invented the PCR test, he said that with the PCR test, you can literally find anything and you can show that anything is positive and it shouldn't be used for infectious disease.
Yeah.
Just to Carrie, how do they misuse PCR to estimate all these supposed free viral RNAs that may or may not be there?
I think misuse PCR is not quite. I don't think you can misuse PCR. Actually, no, the results, the interpretation of it. See, if you can say, if they could find this virus in you at all, and with PCR, if you do it well, you can find almost anything in anybody. It starts making you believe in the sort of Buddhist notion that everything is contained in everything else, right? I mean, because if you can amplify one single molecule up to something that you can really measure, which PCR can do, then there's just very few molecules that you don't have at least one single one of them in your body, okay? So that could be thought of as a misuse of it, just to claim that it's meaningful. But the real misuse of it is that you don't need to test for HIV. You don't need to test for the other 10,000 retroviruses that are unnamed also in the subject. See, somebody that's got HIV generally is going to have almost anything that you can test for. To test for that one and say that has any special meaning is what I think is the problem. Not that PCR has been misused. It's like, it's not an estimation. No, it's a really quantitative thing. It tells you something about nature and about what's there, but it allows you to take a very minuscule amount of anything and make it measurable, and then talk about it in meetings and stuff like it is important. See, that's not a misuse. That's just sort of a misinterpretation. The measurement for it is not exact at all. It's not as good as our measurement for things like apples. An apple is an apple. You know, you can get something that's kind of like, if you got enough things that look kind of like an apple and you stick them all together, you might think it's an apple. But and HIV is like that. Those tests are all based on things that are invisible, and the results are inferred in a sense. PCR is separate from that. It's just a process that's used to make a whole lot of something out of something. That's what it is. But it's not. It doesn't tell you that you're sick, and it doesn't tell you that the thing you ended up with really was going to hurt you or anything like that.
It shouldn't be used to test for infectious disease, because the way it works is it can pick up anything, any antibody even in your body that's been in your body if you've had a flu 6 months ago, depending on how many cycles they administer in the PCR test, it will pick up on it.
Yeah.
You know, and there is no regulation on how many spins they use. I think it's recommended between 8 to 11 spins. They're putting them upwards of 35 spins, and that will find things from your mum's DNA. Like, it's not accurate. It's a flawed testing kit. They're using that, and it's even been so many people have come out and and I'm talking professionals, scientists, researchers, doctors, virologists, immunologists, specialists have said, why is the PCR test being used for this? It makes no sense, but it has to be. It has to be. They can't use a normal testing kit for a virus that has not even been isolated as an actual virus yet.
You keep saying it hasn't been isolated.
It hasn't been identified.
It must have been isolated.
It has not.
Every
Can you?
So what? You're not going to find it on the. Have you not heard of the censorship?
Yeah,
it's not.
So when all these, I had a discussion with a friend over this. He's a heavy, I think he's left wing, isn't he? He's a Biden supporter.
No.
Ew. how did you just?
that's like saying if you're a Trump supporter, you're a racist.
Yeah, like I can still have
Biden
discourse.
sniffs children, like.
Yeah, I don't like him sniffing children. I don't think that's great, and he's cognitively not there.
Right.
So I had a discussion with him, and I said the same thing. I said this hasn't been isolated, and then he goes, "Oh, that's just a buzzword," and sends me all these like fact check like sites. And
who owns fact checkers? Think about it.
Who does? I don't know.
My question to
Bill
that
Gates.
is that where do you,
is it?
Bill Gates. He funds them.
Fuck. I didn't know that.
But like, how do we know that's true? How do we know that any information that you would say or he say, I say, because we all get it from somewhere.
I'll tell you why you know it's
financial
true.
reports.
When things are being so strongly censored and silenced, that's where you got to look. Why? Why do these companies care so much about what we post? Suddenly now they care about truth. Why is that? Why do these fact checkers, why does big tech and the likes put so much time, effort, money, whatever, into censoring people speaking against the COVID narrative? If they have those resources, why haven't they been able to stop childhood porn? Why are you employing people globally to shut down pages like mine, accounts like mine, who dare question the official narrative, but you've not been able to put a lid on child sex trafficking and childhood porn?
Yeah.
It's everywhere. There are more accounts on Facebook. It's putrid. It's putrid about parents pimping their kids out, sex traffickers pimping their kids out, people putting pictures of little boys and it's putrid. And these accounts take forever to be shut down, and you need a whole campaign to get one account shut down. Yep. But I post something about Bill Gates and I get a strike, and then I get my account disabled. That's how you know it's true, if that answers your question.